So, hello, my name is Venya Patel, and welcome to Symbiotic Futures. So, where we're reimagining futures by decentering humans and positioning non-human life and technology at the heart of multidisciplinary discussions. So, today I'm with Professor Dr. Kai-Uwe Schrogl, who is the president of the International Institute of Space Law. So thank you so much for your time today, and can you please introduce yourself?
Yes, thank you very much, Venya, for having me. I'm very pleased to have that conversation with you. My name is Kai-Uwe Schrogl. I'm the president of the International Institute of Space Law, which is the association, the global association of space lawyers in governments, agencies, industry, academia, and private practice. So we act as a platform for all exchanges amongst space lawyers and also try to be influential in space law development. Besides, or as a main job, I'm doing, or I am the special advisor for political affairs in the European Space Agency.
Well, thank you so much for that. And I have some questions for you, of course. So let's just dive straight in. And my first one to you is, so today, many people think that space is kind of abstract from our current issues today. It's something that kind of evokes awe, like fear, or even indifference because of how far it is. And especially with everything happening on Earth with climate emergencies, conflict, inequality, space law can sometimes seem like quite niche, like a niche concern. So, can you tell me what drives your personal commitment in this field and how you would show someone that space is something worth caring about, even if they don't think it, touches their lives?
Well, space is an area, and as you said, it's far away. Its dimensions are huge, and it's awesome. On the other hand, in space, we have instruments, we have infrastructures, we have satellites in particular, and these satellites, they are extremely important for us, which means they are the ones with which we identify the issues and problems, but maybe also the solutions for climate change, for resource management, for telecommunications, for everything which is around our modern society, as well as the issues which are related to that. So space is a driver, not only for innovation, but also for solutions. And therefore, we have to use space in a good way, in an optimum way, and in a way which is good for public interests. And this also means that we have to have a governance which is exactly meeting the expectations that space can be used in a free, fair, and equitable way in order to create and to increase the public value through these space activities and space applications. And this is why it's so close to us. This is why it's important. And this is also why we all should strive for a fair and equitable governance.
Mm-hmm. And so the Outer Space Treaty, which lays out principle for the peaceful exploration and use of space, but in a world where Earth's resources are overexploited and commodified, often under the banner of like making progress or even sustainability, what would it mean to to responsibly use space, as mentioned in the treaty? Should we even use space as resources at all? And if so, under what ethical framework might this be?
We certainly are already using space resources. When you take a broader definition of resources, you will find that, or you could find that orbital positions or orbits as such, together with frequencies, are space resources. So we are already using them, and we try to use them in a responsible way, in an equitable way also. And for this, not only outer space law, but also telecommunications law prepared and then also implemented by the International Telecommunication Union, is pivotal and also has, through the past 50 or even more years, created a governance scheme which is pretty good, I must say, and pretty fair and pretty equitable. And this is also something we should cherish, we should support, and we should maintain.
And to go further on in this topic, with environmental principles like precaution or intergenerational justice, do you think they can be applied to space law as well?
Oh, absolutely. And here we come also to the second point of your question right now. Space resources are also resources, raw materials in particular, minerals on the moon and other celestial bodies. And there we are currently, I would say, quarreling a little bit about the status and the way they can be used or they should be used. But we, in principle, have provisions for that. We have a wonderful agreement, which is the Moon Agreement, which just has to be brought to life, which is an agreement which enables the use of resources in space, but with a caveat that it should be done under a regime which is agreeable to all participants and interested parties. So we will also have this area of space resources management, and there, in particular, there the intergenerational justice will come in because it is an activity and it is a task for the next generations to handle that. Now it's a little bit too early to say what will happen and when space mining and space resource management will actually happen, but it's still a few decades away in a larger scale. And there, then, the intergenerational justice will certainly take hold if we cannot manage to have a system, a governance system, which is fair and equitable. We might pretty soon come to a point where first come, first served rules, and where then the following generations will have problems of free access and free use and a kind of latecomer disadvantage, which should be avoided.
So is there any realistic, you think, governance mechanism to prevent this strongest takes all approach if we are to use space resources?
Yes, indeed, we have it at hand. This is what I just indicated. First of all, we have in the existing space law, in the Outer Space Treaty, which is a treaty on principles, some extremely important principles, which are the freedom of use, so free access to space. Nobody can prevent others or is allowed to prevent others to use space or certain areas. So we don't have keep out zones or something like that. Secondly, no national appropriation, which certainly also includes private appropriation. This constitutes space as a global common. And we also have things like state responsibility, state liability, and you mentioned previously precaution. We also have the principle of due regard to the activities of others. So we already have a wonderful set of governance principles, and we now just have to establish mechanisms which are in line with that. For that purpose, in 1979, at the time when also the regime for the use of the deep seabed mining was worked out and slowly established in UNCLOS then in 1982. This moon agreement was exactly in parallel developed and has as its core the enabling of space mining, equivalent to deep seabed mining, under the condition that all the parties of the agreement will sit down, work on a regime
Hmm.
which will then be hopefully fair, equitable, but still good for investments, but also very careful in environmental and sustainability respects, in order then to handle that and to go about with that in a way which also meets the expectation to space as a global common.
Hmm. Right. And often in public discourse, especially among the tech and private sector, elites like the name Elon Musk, people know, we often hear space described as being the next frontier that to be colonized. And colonization carries a heavy load of racial violence and dispossession. So how do you think the way we talk about space, how does this language shape ideas about it? And why do you think it would be important to challenge this? And do you think there are alternative imaginaries that we should be using instead?
Oh, absolutely. I'm certainly not alone in really condemning the use of the term colonization. It's really absolutely inappropriate. It shows exactly what you said. It shows this also neo-colonial mindset, and a mindset which is far away from the spirit of outer space as a common heritage of mankind, or as the Outer Space Treaty puts it, a province of all mankind or all humankind.
Mhm.
And these are the terms we should use. It's also not that we colonize space. We are peacefully exploring space. We are using space for peaceful purposes, but we are not colonizing it. And this also means appropriation, which is in violation of Article 2 of the Outer Space Treaty. And it also means something which is not peaceful at all. Even if we do not push away or push aside existing inhabitants, it's a mindset which is really unbearable, I must say, and where it's completely different to what we still, let's say, 10 years ago, thought that any exploration should be done together, maybe even on a global scale. And now we are again in what people love to call a race to Moon, to Mars, which also should be overcome. We are not naive. We all know there's the systemic conflicts, there is the militarization, but if you do not remind also the decision makers and also the public that there is an alternative, which is the peaceful coexistence and the joint development of peaceful exploration, then nobody does, and we are entering into another zone of conflict.
Mhm. And so the Outer Space Treaty opens with a call to recognize the common interest of all mankind in the progress of the exploration and the use of outer space for peaceful purposes, as you've been repeating. But the word progress to me kind of has also a loaded history. In many contexts, it's been used to justify domination and marginalization of ideas of alternatives about what civilization should look like. That's what kind of progress has mean in the West. In space law, how do you reinterpret progress? What kind of futures does it make possible or rule out?
Well, progress, it has the same problematic connotations as development.
Mm-hmm.
What kind of development? Is a developing country on the right track when it follows the development concepts of the North? These are discussions which in modern sociology and modern political science are clearly answered now. In my capacity as president of the International Institute of Space Law, I also encouraged a study on alternative approaches to space law, also indigenous ideas and perceptions and concepts of space law. And there we are currently working on that, and I'm pretty sure that this study, when it will come out, it will open a lot of eyes.
Mm-hmm.
Let me also just mention one point which is a little bit linked with your previous question. We are now discussing to preserve historical sites on the moon. Okay,
Mm-hmm.
fair enough. Nobody wants to flatten the Apollo landing sites or the landing sites where are other space objects by other countries. But why should we take more care about this than about the environment on the moon?
Mm-hmm.
And also on other celestial bodies.
Mm-hmm.
You cannot imagine, and it's already known, how much problems will be created by maneuvering on the moon when the dust goes up.
Mm-hmm.
This will cause problems like when you do deep seabed mining, where, however, deep seabed mining will only come under the UNCLOS regime when environmental criteria have been established. And now, thank God, with the new treaties on biodiversity in the oceans, the Ocean Treaty, we are getting closer to something which is rational, which is good, and which also prevents ecocide on the deep seabed. But in outer space, we are very slow with that. We only now take in particular debris mitigation really serious. With the mega constellations, we are on very difficult tracks, not only in space, but also when they all re-enter through the atmosphere
Mm-hmm.
in damaging the atmosphere.
Right.
And the same is that we really don't take any care of environmental issues and questions when we talk about mining of the moon, and even less when we try to colonize the moon or Mars. So we have to think differently. We have simply also to come back to the Outer Space Treaty, because in the Outer Space Treaty we have so many principles which are, even though the Outer Space Treaty is from 1967, are of absolutely top timeliness. And this should lead us to first pause, think, consider, set up our mind of how we want to establish sustainable uses, because there's no need to rush and to give away these principles like the non-appropriation, and then jointly, universally decide on the ways and means of how to handle these things.
Mm-hmm. And what do you think about the threat of neoliberal logics in trying to protect the sustainability and fair use of these space resources? Do you think these new laws or treaty or the things that you're working on can we can use it in a way to kind of go against these threats?
Well, take it from the other side
Right.
or the other perspective. These neoliberal logics or colonial logics, they are against existing law.
Mm-hmm.
We do not have to say why we should avoid that. They have to justify themselves, but they can't because they are in violation of that law. But where's the logic that we now have to abandon the non-appropriation principle? I
Mm-hmm.
see absolutely none. Who will benefit from that? Maybe one country and there a few companies, maybe a monopolist.
Mm-hmm.
What's the use of that? And why should everybody then jubilate and say, wow, wonderful, these visionaries are bringing society forward? No, they only enrich themselves.
Mm-hmm.
And whether that is good for the global society, I very much and pretty much doubt that.
Mm-hmm.
We also have to start thinking of saying no and also make moratoria. We are always told, oh, progress cannot be stopped. And it's naive to think that we can, be it artificial intelligence, be it this, be it that, we cannot control it. It will just come. We have no chance. Hands off, let it go.
Mm-hmm.
Well, why? In in the 50s, and then later on, even in the 90s, the states were strong enough to say no to mining in Antarctica. They said, we make a moratorium. And this moratorium runs out, unfortunately, in the 40s, 2040s. But nevertheless, they did that. Why can't we do that now
Mm-hmm.
with the moon, with the Mars, with asteroids, with mining, and take then the time to come up with a fair and equitable regime? There is absolutely no determinism that we follow these logics, which well, do not bring public, broad, global, universal value and benefit, but only serve to create monopolies, which then uh, end in a way which we see and understand and follow in so many areas which are damaging the environment
Mm-hmm.
and which are then making life of humans, of animals, of the biosphere more and more difficult.
Yeah. And you told me last time we spoke that the space law community can sometimes be like an ivory tower, and that it's essential to kind of involve people outside of this sector as well. So, what kind of alliances or solidarities do you hope to see across these sectors and disciplines that could help protect space as this global common?
Yeah, I should stress it's not that the space lawyers want to live in an ivory tower. It's just that I could return to your first question. People find that far away and not super relevant, and therefore they say, okay, let them do what they want and what they obviously have to do in their
Mm-hmm.
field. But I think it's very important that we share with other fields which are related. So the people who are doing climate, the people who are doing fishery, high seas, everybody who is related to questions of resource management, to information, to the internet society, but also to fields, and I try to develop that ecocide. Many might know that there is a big movement and a successful movement to make ecocide a punishable crime under the Rome Statutes of the International Criminal Court. Uh, there are so many fields where space can provide input, where space can learn, and where there could be coalitions of those who think in categories like the global commons and the consequences these global commons should have on managing international relations and governance.
Yeah.
So this is how to break out of the ivory tower, to lead discussions with adjacent fields, and also to hope that our ideas, our principles can also be transported to academic circles. This is why I'm meeting many students and also go to universities on all continents, talking there and providing insights in space law and its principles, so that this can exchange and interact with as many fields and also as many individuals as possible.